Yeah, so a lot of the other softwares I've used from Avoria Prime and from several other companies, they're good sometimes, and sometimes they're not good. The trouble is the majority of them use what they call a martingale system, which means they take out larger and larger lot size trades to cover the market going the wrong way, and they basically end up betting everything on the market turning in time. Variations of that, and there's been some good softwares that I've used that have mitigated that risk. I mean, the risk is that, you know, it can run really, really well for a while, but then you can end up with a lot of trades open, and they can be all in drawdown, and you can have a lot of money at risk. You know, even though it works really well for a month or so, then at some stage you can just start getting into more and more drawdown, and, you know, which incurs more and more risk, and, you know, you either get really stressed out and or end up, you know, taking a big loss, which can suck out. You know, you might have 2 really good months, and then you could pretty much lose all that profit, if not even more sometimes, on the 3rd month or something. So that's sort of the risk. And I really love using different softwares and that to trade with. I just find it fun. But
is this new one a different strategy?
Yeah, I just wanted to go through what the other ones I've used are like, so I can sort of explain why this one's better. You know, so for most people, like for most software, for somebody to use them successfully long term, really does require at least a reasonably good understanding of trading, just so that you can, because sometimes once, you know, like if they end up with too many trades open and they're in drawdown, that means they're in the negative, those trades. You need to know what to do to get yourself out of that. And so at that sort of stage, the software needs some human input to help it out. It's as simple as that. So, you know, the 90% of the time you don't need to know anything, but that last 10%, if you don't know it, can mean that you lose money. And so that's how those softwares work. You know, they'll open up one trade, the market goes the wrong way, they'll open up another trade, quite often a larger trade, so that when the market does turn around, it doesn't have to move too far, and you close it out. And those sort of softwares work really, really well in a ranging market. A ranging market being it's just ranging between here and here. But when you get when the market starts trending in one direction or the other for a long period of time, that's when those softwares sort of, well, not fall apart, but they're not designed for that. So that's when you can get into trouble. So with this new one that's called the Market Makers Trend EA software, I'll just share my screen. Excuse me. So this is what it looks like on a chart. At the moment, it's just working on the DAX, which is the German 30, German 40. A couple of brokers have a different name for it too, but that's just for this one pair at the moment. So that's what it looks like on the chart. And this is how you can access the settings here. Now, there's not, they've given us, I think they've done a really, really good job of this software, in that it's given us some control so that we can change things to suit ourselves, but there's certain things that we can't change, and they're the things that you probably shouldn't change anyway. But some software have given you full control over everything, and that can be tempting for little fingers to do things that they probably shouldn't. So I'll run through some of the features. You can have either a single or a progressive trade entry. Single meaning that there'll only ever be one trade open at any one time. Progressive, you can have up to 3 trades open at any one time. So progressive is higher risk, I guess, because you could have more trades open, therefore you have more trades lose. The big difference with this software is each trade worked individually. So all the trades will be the same size if you don't touch the settings. And it'll place a trade, it'll place a stop loss, it'll place a take profit. You'll either win or you'll lose that trade. If you lose the trade, it depends on what it'll depend on what size, what entry you have here. You can have conservative, moderate, or aggressive, meaning you're risking 1% per trade, 2%, or 3% per trade. But if you just have it on conservative, then it'll only open up one trade. And if it gets into 1% drawdown, actually, based off what I've seen so far, it's actually a little bit less than 1%. So you can never lose more than 1% of your account balance. So this is a $1,000 account. So if it opens up a trade on that setting, I can't lose more than $10, which is quite reasonable. Whereas some of the other softwares, it'd open up one trade and it'd go into drawdown, open up a second trade, and this trade could end up being in $100 drawdown, the next one in 50 or 100 as well, and it can get out of control. So this one, it's just opens up one trade, it plays out, you either win it or you lose it. If you win about 1.5%. If you lose 1%. So if you only win half the trades, then you end up well and truly in front because the wins are bigger than the losses. So that's really the biggest difference, is that you can't, like on this setting, you can't get into more than 1% drawdown. Now, I'm not sure who's on this call at the moment, but anybody that's used EA softwares for trading, particularly if they've used the ones that I've used myself, and we've been in that sort of trading community together for a while, we will have seen a lot more, and people are laughing already, a lot more than 1% drawdown. Most of the other softwares I've seen, 10% drawdown is normal, sometimes up to 30% drawdown, meaning that at that particular moment, if the market doesn't turn around, you're looking at losing 30% of your account. Whereas this one, as I said, on this setting, you can't ever get into more than 1% drawdown. You never have more than 1% of your account at risk. If we put this setting up here onto progressive, now it could take out up to 3 trades at any one time, and each trade you could lose 1% on. So now you've literally got 3% of your account at risk.
Les, what were the fees to get in again? I can't remember. It's been a while since I was in a Fourier Prime, because that was one of the problems, wasn't it? The cost to get into it.
Well, I didn't see the cost to get in as a problem. It's just to consistently make enough profit to cover the monthly fee.
Yeah.
So the fees haven't really changed, and there's been a little bit of a change, but basically you're looking at the same sort of money. But I meant to look into that before this call, so I could talk about that exactly, but I didn't. But so it still costs you, a couple of $100 per month to access the software through a Fourier Prime. So you need to be making at least $200 profit a month to cover it. We have to use it and see what sort of returns we're going to start averaging to know how big of an account balance we need in order to be making enough to be worthwhile. So this isn't something that you could run on just a $500 account and expect to be making clear profit. That's not what this is about. But for me, if you can make any profit safely, being the key word, safely, any profit, then you simply need to increase your account balance big enough in order to be able to pay that $200. Don't quote me on $200, but to cover the cost of your monthly subscription and then make profit on top. If you're making 5% profit per month, then you're going to need to have, I'm tired, my brain's not working, but X amount of an account balance in order to make profit. Here, let me just work that out. Yeah, you know, so if you were making what did I say? 10% profit per month, then, you know, you'd need probably around about a $3,000 account in order to be making enough to pay your monthly subscription with worthwhile profit on top. I mean, you can start smaller, especially if you just want to see how it's working so you can get your confidence up, and the compounding will eventually kick in and make it worthwhile anyway. But if you just want to look at it on face value, you sort of need $3,000 in your account. But I mean, I know everyone's finances are different, but if you've got something that is safe, you know, with something like this, the money's in your own personal broker account. So there's zero risk of a rug pull. So it's not like, you know, any number of different online investment schemes going around where if the company goes, you know, bankrupt or just runs off with money, or, you know, we all know the sort of things that can happen, then you lose your money. With this, that doesn't happen because Avoria Prime that's supplying the software, at no stage do they ever have access to your trading money. You're just paying a monthly fee to access their softwares and tools, and you use those tools on your own trading accounts to make profit. So if Avoria Prime ever goes out of business, then yes, we'd lose access to the softwares and tools, but we wouldn't lose any money at all. And point in case, a company I was in before Avoria Prime, which was essentially the same sort of company, they ended up falling apart. That was just sort of a disagreement between the owners, so they went their own way, which actually worked out in my favour because I went across to Avoria Prime. They give me everybody that was in the old company, they gave us all a 3 months use of the software, which was the same software still. So because that company fell apart, I ended up getting the 3 month use. So I guess it worked out in my favour then. But the point is, because the money's in your own broker account, you can't lose it through any sort of a dodgy setup. And then so the only other problem is, can you lose the money from actual trading? And a lot of softwares, I'd say, yes, there is good potential to lose money if you're not watching what you're doing. What I'm saying, quote, hoping, is that this software really isn't going to have the risk of us losing any money. And if you don't have to worry about the company stealing your money, you don't have to worry about any real losses from trading, then you can much more confidently put a lot more money into it because you know it's in your control, it's safe, and if you ever need it, you can withdraw it anytime you like. I'll get back to these settings here quickly. Another thing about this software is if it has 4 losing trades in any given 24-hour period, then it stops trading. So there isn't a single day that goes by where you could possibly lose more than 4 trades, because as soon as you lose the 4th trade, the software will stop trading for a certain period of time until there's only 3, and it's like it rolls over. So if you had a losing trade in the morning and a couple in the afternoon and 1 at night time, then it wouldn't trade again until the time of that first trade. So once that one's 24-hour period's over, then there's only been 3 losing trades in the last 24 hours, so it would start trading again. So that's a safety feature. You know, crazy things can happen in the market, but if we were on, you know, the safest sort of setting, the single entry and the conservative one, then just off those settings, there's no way you could ever lose more than 4% in any one given day. And that's if you had 4 consecutive losing trades straight up. Most likely what would happen if you ever hit those four losing trades in a day, that's hardwired that in. You can't change that setting because they say it's quite rare for the software to ever lose 4 trades in a day. But what would normally happen is it'd have a winning trade, then it'd have a losing trade, a couple of winning ones, and then a losing one, and maybe another losing one. You know, so you'd end up with 3 winning ones and 4 losing ones. You'd actually still end up in front, because if you had 3 losing trades that would give you 4.5% profit. And then 4 losing trades would be 4%. So you'd still be 0.5% up. But, you know, you could, of course, anything can happen. You could have, the day could start and you could have 4 losing trades in a row and you'd be down 4%. So the software is not going to trade for the rest of the day. That's just a safety feature, you know, like, because having 4 trades like that lose isn't very likely. So most likely there's something really wild going on in the market. So it's just not going to trade until the next day. So that's a pretty good safety feature. The weekly equity protector. So, you know, this is the maximum amount you can lose in a week. You know, so I wouldn't have it set at 10. I don't know, you just pick whatever you like, you know. If you end up losing 9% for the week, it's going to shut down. You know, I probably wouldn't want to lose that much, 5%. So if I've ever lost 5%, so if my account balance started at 1,000 and I ended up at $950 over the course of the week, it's going to stop trading because I've lost 5%. Weekly profit protector. So if I ever get to the stage where I've made 10% profit for the week, it's going to stop trading. That's because one of the biggest risks of trading is when you haven't really, it's like being at a casino, not that I know what that's like too much, but you're at the casino, you're trading, whatever you're doing, and you're winning, you're getting all excited, you're on a bit of a high, so you just keep going, and eventually you lose. So that's to stop that human greed factor. So you can set a percentage, and when you hit that for the week, it doesn't matter if you hit that on Monday, had a 10% day on Monday, you won't be able to, it won't trade for you for the rest of the week because you've hit your weekly goal already. And I think anybody that makes 10% for the week would be more than happy. And then they've got your daily equity protector too. So that's the same as weekly profit protector. Oh, this is daily equity protector. So that's a loss. So if you ever lose, in this case, 4% for the day, then it's going to stop trading. That's a bit different to the 4 losing trades, because the 4 losing trades could be 4%, but most likely it would be a bit less because you would have some winning trades amongst it. But if you ever end up down 4% for the day, it's going to stop trading. That's a figure you can just change to whatever you like. And then it's got the daily profit protector, same as the weekly profit protector, but on a daily basis. So I've got mine set at 5. So if I made 5% for the day, I'm done for the day. It's not going to trade anymore. You can set the trading times. Now, the German 40 indice, it's because it's German and everything, it's the London and the New York trading sessions that are the best times for this software to trade German 40. So you can set those market times here. I've just got it trading 24/5 myself at the moment on those settings, but you could change that to, you know, 1800 to, you know, to 2400. And if you did that, it would only be trading that 6-hour period every day. But you can set that to trade, you know, the most favorable time of the market. Or, you know, you might be somebody that wants to keep a bit more of an eye on it. So you just set it for when you can, and then it doesn't trade the rest of the day. But that gives you good control over when it trades, because certain markets trade better at certain times of the day. It's simple as that. And you can set it, you know, a lot of people would set, you know, you could put this setting at 0100, because a lot of people don't want to trade the first hour of the market open because it's a lot more volatile, the spreads are larger and everything. So changing that to the 1 hour after the market opens every day is probably not a bad idea. And then you can either, the market opens Sunday night on the other side of the world. For us, it's Monday morning. So if you set that to true, it means it's going to trade Monday morning. If you set it to false, it just won't trade Monday morning. And that's a little bit like trading the start of the day. It's trading the start of the week can be a little unpredictable and volatile. And a lot of people also choose not to trade on Fridays at the end of the week because they don't want to be stuck carrying trades over the weekend. So a lot of people would change that one to false as well for that reason. just give you a bit more control over what's going on. We've got the news filters. So if there's any particular economic news that are going to affect the pair you're trading, and they're getting their info here from the Forex factory site, then it just, I've got it set to trade. Sorry, where are we? Use the news filter. So I've got it set to true. So if there's any volatile news that it's going to affect the German 40 index, then 30 minutes before that news event until 30 minutes after it, the software won't trade. And anybody that's done any trading on Forex, they'll sort of know it's not a lot. Most weeks there'll only be 3 or 4 events during the week that are very, very volatile. And some in particular, you can see the market shoot off 200 pips in one way and then 200 pips in the other way. And pretty much, no matter what you do, you could lose money or get into drawdown there. So that stops that problem. And then you can just send alerts to your MT4 app on your phone and all that. So that's a basic rundown of the settings for it. This setting here is just you can set a spread. So if the spread's large, it won't trade. That's a very good setting as well. But if you just got to be aware that at these settings on single and conservative, I can only lose 1% at any one time. No more than 4% per day, because 4 trades at 1% would be 4. But if you set this to progressive, now you can have 3 trades or lose 1%. And if you set this to aggressive, now each trade is 3%, and you could have up to 3 trades. So now you're potentially risking 9% of your account. That's fine if you want to do that, but you just have to be aware that that would be 3 times 3 potentially. So it could be a lot more. Any questions on that so far, guys? Not really. Either that or everyone's asleep. So just to recap, the reason this software to me is pretty exciting so far, and with a pinch of salt, because I haven't used it for very long, but I've used over 20 different softwares to trade Forex specifically. So I'm pretty good at determining, the potential you can only work out over time, seeing it work. But I can quickly work out how safe they are. So I can pretty confidently say that this software is very safe, because you can't get into big drawdown, because you can't lose, particularly if you're using the more conservative settings, then you can't ever lose very much in one day, and not even very much in 1 week. So it's what I'd call safe. Safe's probably the number 1 priority, but the number 2 priority is you also need to make profit at some stage. So we need to use it for a bit longer in order to determine that for sure. But based off what I've seen and heard so far, it definitely has the potential to be making over 10% profit for the month. I know 10% profit may not sound like a lot to some people, but if you jump yourself on a compound calculator and get 10% profit per month for about 5 years, then you've done quite well for yourself. So 10% for me anyway is more than adequate. I mean, the potential, I know people that have made over 9% profit for the week using this. So the potential is to make a lot more. But I'm talking about 10% for the other reason that I'm extremely excited about this software, and that is to pass a prop firm test without knowing much about trading at all. Prop firm tests, or prop firms, for those that don't know, are companies that, if you can prove that you're a profitable and a safe trader, then they'll let you trade essentially a live account on their behalf. Those live accounts can vary in size, but generally up to $100,000 or $200,000. And most of them, even when you first start with them, the profit split of the money you make on those large accounts is 70% for you, 30% for the prop firm. So if you can pass these prop firm tests and be trading a $100,000 account, and then if you go ahead and make a 10% profit for the month on a $100,000 account, that's $10,000 for the month. You get to keep 70%. So you will have made $7,000 US profit for the month without risking any of your own money, because you're not trading your own money. So that's, the prop firms are a bit of a holy grail for traders to become good enough to be able to pass them. Now, I don't know, because I haven't used this software for long, but just being logical and using what I know about trading already, I don't expect this software to be able to pass the prop firm test month in, month out, every month. Okay, because it's real trading. It's trading. You can only take what the market offers from month to month. So, you know, sometimes you'll pass, sometimes you won't. But the thing is, once you pass, like, each prop firm's slightly different, but generally you can't ever get into more than 5% drawdown, which you can easily make this software do. You know, the settings we were just talking about, you can't lose more than 4% a day. So already, okay, check that box. We won't be losing. You know, you can make this software guarantee that it never loses more than, you know, 5% a day. So you'll pass that part of the test. The other part of the test is generally that you need to make 10% profit for the month. Okay, so yes, I can promise this software won't lose more than 5% a day, but whether it can make 10% every month, I would say no. I know that's not a very good marketing ploy to tell you that, but it, you know, I just know enough about trading to know that that won't happen every single month. But if you can just pass it once, then you're trading their live account and you don't have any requirements to make big amounts of money there is no requirements. You don't even have to make profit. But whatever profit you do make, you get to keep 70% of. You know, so you can have a good month, take home, make 10%, take home $7 grand yourself, or you can just have a month where you only make $1,000 profit, and you know, you only make $700 yourself. But either way, it's profit, and you don't have any of your own money at risk. Now, once you're trading a live account for them, you can lose the rights to trade it if you're going to more than 5% drawdown a month, on any particular day, or if you lose more than 10%. You know, if you've got a $100,000 account, if your account balance ever drops below $90,000, you would lose access to it, and you'd have to start from scratch and do the test again. But I would say once you pass the prop firm test, this software, you would dial it down to as conservative as you possibly can, and just let it do its thing. And I would say it would make profit every month. Well, that would be the plan. If it only made 1 or 2% profit some months and 10% profits another month, that would be still awesome. So how do you get involved with prop firms? You pay a fee to be tested. The test involves 2 parts. You've got to make that 10% in a month without going in more than 5% drawdown. And then they have a second phase where you actually get 2 months, but you can do it in 10 days if you like, and you only have to make 5% profit. That's essentially just to prove that it just wasn't a fluke that first month. But you can complete the first phase in 10 days minimum, and the second phase in 10 days minimum as well. So it doesn't have to take months and months to pass. You can do it all in 20 days. So that's sort of why I'm pretty excited about this software, because it definitely has the potential to pass those tests, as I said. And if there's a software, a company out there telling you that their trading system or their software will pass a prop firm test every time, then they're just hyping it up a bit too much, because that simply doesn't happen. And well, maybe this one does, but you know, logically and honestly speaking, I would doubt it very much. I don't have mine running on a prop firm account at the moment, but I'll definitely be starting that up soon. Generally, with any new trading system or software, you should be probably using it on a demo account first, but I don't do that. I've just got mine on a small live account, and it's ticking away nicely. It had a bad run last night, and I did lose 4 trades, so it hasn't been trading today. But still, for 2.5 days trading, I'm still 2.7% profit up. It was up to 5.7 there at one stage, but it came back. But I'm still averaging, I'm still averaging 1% a day, which means, 10 days trading, it would still at the present rate, even though it's just had a bad run, I would still pass that prop firm test in 10 days, which is the minimum amount of trading days you could do anyway. So, yeah, despite it having a few so it had 3 losing trades in a row last night, which lost me about 2.5%. I'm still on track to have passed a test, no worries at all. To pass the prop firm test, to get that 10%, if you just trade 5 days a week, then you need to average 0.5% a day. So at the moment, my average is still double that. So it's still all looking really, really good. And the other reason I'm a bit excited about this, because, I like to share things and, build teams and earn commissions and all that as well. And finding a way for the average person to pass a prop firm test is definitely huge as far as sharing and building teams goes. I wouldn't say for somebody that's never done anything like this, I'm not going to say it's going to be completely easy, but you really don't need to know too much about trading itself, because this software really does all of it. It's pretty much set it and forget it, I guess. But setting it does require you knowing enough or getting help in these settings and what works. But as a group, as we always do, we'd share ideas and everything. So those that don't have much experience with these sort of things, they could, not that the company actually gives recommendations either, because that's not a legal thing, and not that I could really legally give recommendations either, not being a financial advisor and all that hoo-ha. We can definitely share the settings that we're using and the results we're getting, and you can use that to, make up your own mind about how you want to run the software yourself. And other than that, once it's all set up, then you don't really need to change anything, or at least not very often anyway. And I know for some of the other softwares I've used are definitely a lot more hands-on and require adjustments to settings and all of that, and is harder to set up initially as well. So although for someone brand new, this will look complicated, I guess, to those that have done a bit of this before, you will see that this one's a lot easier to set up and to use. I've got a couple of videos as well from a Warrior Prime that go through how the software works and how to set it up. I might throw them up in the Market Hackers chat group as well, just for those that are interested. But that's probably about all I know so far, I think, guys.
Thanks, Les.
Thanks,
What did you want to
Les.
link to, Kath?
To that software, Les.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'll add you to our chat group.
Yep.
And I'll send you a link. I'll have to just give me a bit. I want to go through and check out exactly what the pricings are and everything again. But
Okay.
it's a bit of a setup. You got to use a VPS that they provide. You would have seen me go to a VPS here, and if I close down my MT4s, this is the Avoria Prime desktop of their VPSs, and they have their softwares. I've got a couple of different softwares on this one. You can have up to 4 softwares at once. Obviously, that costs you more. And yeah, so you could be running 4 separate accounts with 4 different softwares. They're not just softwares; they do have tools as well. Like this one here, this is the Aero software. And so it's already pretty pictures for all the resistance zones and support zones, the moving averages, and you get given a little arrow.
Nothing showing, Les.
I forgot I stopped sharing my screen. But yeah, so this isn't a software. It doesn't place trades for you. This is just an indicator, but it's a pretty one. So you got red for the resistance zones, green for the green zones, and you get alerts and little arrows printed on your screen when there's potential good trades set up, and you can go and place them. They've also got their newest thing they're bringing out is trade signals from their top traders as well. So you can just copy and paste them in basically and run with it. But what I was saying before when I didn't have my screen shared is that's the Avoria Prime VPS desktop. And, you know, if you've purchased 4 different softwares, you'll have a different one on each one of these MT4 platforms. I've actually got the arrow indicator and the market maker software all on the same one there at the moment. So you got a bit of a process. You've got to access the VPS and you've got to have a broker account, of course, just like any trading. And other than that, it's a pretty easy software. You just bring up the chart, you drag the software on, and then you click that smiley face to adjust the settings. I wasn't on the right one, but on here, that smiley face, that access the settings, you adjust them how you want them, and you let it do its thing. Most of you guys have pretty much done all that sort of stuff before. And for those of you that have done it before, probably the most exciting thing you would have heard was that you can't get into big drawdown, because that was always the biggest issue, that at some stage you could end up, and most likely would end up in big drawdown. This is a software that doesn't do that. So I would personally much more confidently throw, well, one of my favourite softwares was Gearbox. Okay, it was really good. I liked it. Still potentially could get into big drawdown at some stage, less likely, but still definitely, and it definitely did happen at times. And when that happens, you can actually take a decent sized loss. So, you know, I had to be sensible and not have my entire life savings involved. And I'm not saying I'm going to put my entire life savings into this one either, but I would much more confidently have a much larger account balance, because I know that I can't wake up in the morning and be in 30% drawdown. The worst that could possibly happen is I wake up in the morning and I've had 4 losing trades, so I'm down 4%. That would be worst case scenario. And for me, that's more than acceptable. So that's why I would confidently have a lot more money in this one.
Les, can I ask something?
Sure, Mike.
Les, if you remember, we have used this software before as well with the, when 1.5 years before. Is the same software, or it's improved version for that one? Because we lost that money, I know, with a drawdown of, and then we had to close account. It's the same software?
That's what I'm talking about, is softwares we've used in the past. You can get into that big drawdown and you can lose money. Mm-hmm. This one is brand new. They've only just made it. It's only just been launched. One of the main guys from Avoria Prime that's been doing a lot of the trading education there, he put it together.
Okay.
And that is the difference, that you cannot get into big drawdown with this software.
Oh, okay, got it. Because other settings looks like very similar when you are showing, like what we had been doing.
Same layout, but completely different settings. So like the software you're talking about, you know how it could open up multiple trades, each trade getting larger and larger?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That doesn't happen with this one. Depending on your settings, it will only open up one trade at a time. That trade will either win or lose, then it'll do another trade. And it won't trade all the time. It'll only trade when there's a good trade opportunity. And like the name of it, market makers trend. So what market makers are, they're the big financial institutions, the banks, the hedge funds that manipulate the market. Okay, it's been polite saying that they're market makers. What they do is they manipulate the market. they, I won't get into it too much, but they'll have buy orders and sell orders, so they're hedging. That'll push the market down, but at some stage they'll bring the market back up so they can close out their buy orders without taking a loss, and then let the market drop down again. And in doing that, they, the retail traders like ourselves, they take our money and they push the price around, because they can just throw billions of dollars in whichever direction they want to make the market go where they want. They can manipulate the market. So they're the market makers. And so this software determines which direction the market makers are pushing the market at that particular time. And it will only trade in that direction. So a lot of the softwares we've used in the past have been counter trend trading software. So they trade against the trend, trying to judge where the market turns. This one doesn't. It trades with the trend, and not only with the trend, but with the market maker's trend. Doesn't mean it wins every trade, of course, but it's obviously winning more than it's losing.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, you shared some details, like, what will the cost and other things. So then.
Yeah, I will. So are you still in our Market Hackers chat group?
I think so. Yeah, I think I was not following, but I think still I am. I think I'll just check.
No,
again.
well, I'll get on to tomorrow. I'll get on to my Avoria Prime account and go through the exact pricings of everything. There's a few things I just need to check up on. Similar prices, though, I'm pretty sure, and tell you all about that. I'll tell everyone about that in our chat group, Market Hackers chat group. But if it turns out you're not in that chat group and you want to be, let me know. Or if if you don't end up with that info and you want it, let me know personally, and I'll get that through to you as well. Okay.
Yeah. Les, can I ask one more thing apart from this? This is not related to this trading.
Well, if I might just save any questions about something else until after I stop recording, because I just want this to be about this software, but we definitely can after. I'll just see if anybody else wanted to chat about anything to do with it.
Yeah. Thanks.
No, Diane, it doesn't trade gold.
No, it's just DAX, is it? Is that what you just said? Yeah.
Just DAX at the moment. They do intend on bringing in other things, but at the moment it's just fine-tuned for DAX.
Cool. And I know you haven't got any live trades on at the minute, but did you say it does all of it for you? So you don't set stop loss, take profit, but you can still see. You can see it though. It's there. It's set. Yeah.
Yes. So actually, you can set it to either show the stop losses or to hide the stop losses, but mine are just showing. So you can see the stop losses and take profits. Yes.
So if you wanted to, you could, without Trade Copier, you could be mirroring it and doing it yourself on a manual account if you wanted to.
So the video that I'll share, which is one from the developer, says that you're not allowed to mirror trades. Anyone caught mirror trading can lose access to the software and their Avoria Prime account. So I'm not going to say anything else.
Trade copying, yeah. But yeah, I get you. Thank you. That's answered it.
But yeah, so that's obviously something that they can't really monitor anyway. So
no, I just wondered if the software was sophisticated enough so it was just doing it without you being able to get into those settings, because there's always that benefit if you've got an EA software. We could do that before. Yeah, you can check and see what your stop loss and take profits are, and if you want
it generally just does a 1 to 1.5 risk to reward ratio. So if it's got a 50 pip stop loss, it'll have a 75% pip take profit. And that's part of the explanation when they take you through it as well. Plus, you can see exactly where they are. With a little bit of trading knowledge, you can sort of fine tune the take profits and stop losses anyway, because they're just sort of statically set at 1 to 1.53 actually.
So when are you starting your FTMO challenge?
Yeah, if I don't start it this week, it'll be at the start of next week. Hey, buddy. for sure. I just wanted to just see how the software worked first, but from what I've seen, if it doesn't pass the FTMO test, it won't fail it. Oh, that's what I forgot to mention to you before. For those that don't know about the prop firm test, if you don't pass it, so if you don't make your 10% profit for the month, as long as you're still in some profit and you haven't gone into more than 5% drawdown, so that means you don't pass the test, but you haven't failed it either, so you get to do it again for free. And so, I mean, I could be wrong. This software could go to shit, but from what I've seen and what I know, I don't think that's the case. And although I'm definitely not going to give any guarantees that it's going to pass FTMO every time, I'm 100% certain that sometimes it will, but the times it doesn't, I think you would still, get a free go. You're not going to fail it.
And those losing trades last night, Les, could you see, knowing your trading knowledge, were you surprised why it took it out, or can you analyze what you thought it did
not
wrong?
Not really. So it's working on the market maker trend. So trading with the trend, but as you know, like it's doing, let's say it's trending up, which it was, it's still zigzagging up, of course. So it was picking the bottom of the zig and trying to trade up the zag, but sometimes it looked like the market had turned, so it took out a trade and then it dumped a bit further, but then the trend did continue up. So if it had had a bigger stop loss, it would have been fine, but you still got to have some sort of risk management. So I guess, yourself as a trader, picking the bottom as the market turns on the zigs and the zags is difficult. You want to try and pick it as early as possible so you get the tighter stop loss. But when you do that, sometimes it goes down a bit further and hits your stop loss. It's the same thing really, but you're never going to find anybody or any software that wins 100% of the time. It simply won't happen. And it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, as I said, because the wins are, bigger than the losses. If you had 10 winning trades and 10 losing trades for the week, you're still going to come out 5% in front. I think that's right. Give them a calculator. So if you did 10 winning trades, that would be 15% profit, and 10 losing trades, you'd lose 10%. Yeah. So if over the course of the week, it took out 20 trades, 10 wins, 10 losses, you still finish the week 5% in front. So you can't argue with that. That's pretty good. But anyway, so stay tuned for more results. That's the only slight question is, how my results will go over a longer time period. I can already know that I won't take big losses at any time, but it'll just take longer to make sure that the profits are outweighing the losses enough to be worthwhile. But I know one of the guys from Avoria Prime last week, he had 9% profit for the week. That was on a conservative setting. I don't know exactly his settings, but
wonder why they chose DAX.
Pardon?
I wonder why they chose DAX as their one sort of like indice or group of indices to.
I guess it was just one of his favourites, and it's a good trending. It's a good trending pair as well, So I don't know if you can call that a pair, but
it's a group, isn't it? But I just wonder if then
it's a bit like
in that
US
area,
30,
they'd have to bring another one in, wouldn't they?
Yeah. Like US, I haven't traded DAX too much myself, but it's a lot like US 30. It's very much a trending. It'll go one way for quite a while and then turn and go the other way for quite a while, which is quite handy for a trend trading software. But they definitely plan on bringing it out for other, I don't know whether they meant Forex pairs or just other different indices as well or not, but at the moment it's just DAX. And it doesn't worry me how I make my money, whether it's DAX or
No,
Forex.
no. Just another pair to get, or another group to get to
Yeah.
used to.
Yeah.
Cool.
All
Exposure.
right, well, I might just stop this recording if no one's got any pertinent questions.